I'm not sure what to call this video yet. Um, Teacher qualifications, teacher job descriptions. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll figure something out. What I want to talk about and explore and help myself figure out some things on the subject is of what is a teacher? What should a teacher be? What are their responsibilities? What skills should they have, etc. Part of the reason I want to do this right now is because of a phone call I received earlier today, which I'll tell you about. But also, it's just been on my mind a lot more than well. If I was teaching, I think it would still be on my mind. And because I'm not teaching, it also is on my mind. And hiring season is pretty much come and gone, and I have not secured a teaching position. So it is on my mind because of that. Basically, where do I start? I'll start with the phone call today. So I think that's a good place. I applied to a general pool for a school district. So some school districts have an opportunity for you to just apply with a general cover letter that kind of states your teaching areas that you're interested in and levels, like what grade levels and stuff. And then they can reach out to you if there's a position that opens up rather than you applying to a specific position because maybe they don't have, for instance, like if they don't have an art position at that moment, but you apply to the general pool, they can take a look at that and say, hey, we want this guy in our school district if that position opens up. So we're going to hold on to this application and then contact them if a need arises in the future. So not a lot of school districts have that I've seen, but there's a couple. So I applied that way to one of them, and I got a phone call today, which I was excited about at first. First I got an email, then we set up a phone meeting. But very quickly, in the phone, it was over within like 5 minutes, and it was really frustrating and disappointing and annoying, which is why I'm having this conversation right now. Because, so they said, like, hey, we looked things over, looks like you're kind of into art and stuff, like, what else are you interested in teaching? Like, would you want to do anything like a grade 6 homeroom? And I was just like, no. Like, no, I would not like that. I don't want to be a generalist. I specified things I was interested in my cover letter. They just chose to not believe me when I said those things. Or maybe they're desperate for certain positions that they can't fill that are more generalist or homeroom type situations, which I don't want to do. So I said, I'm open to other subject areas other than art. I want to stay secondary, but like English is my second teaching area. I'm interested in that. Things in the humanities in general I'm pretty okay with, whether it be social studies or, like, depending on the high school, you might have a psychology class, a philosophy class, a law class, things of that nature that stick to more of the humanities. I'm good. Like, I could do a comm class too, like whatever. It's not so rigid as to only one specific thing. The dream is to just do, senior art and that's it. But I recognize that there's got to be some flexibility there from time to time, and that there's other things that I'm definitely okay with. But despite the fact that I named a bunch, 5 different subject areas, 6, that I would be interested in, they said, oh, okay, well, that's kind of limiting. And I was just like, that's limiting? Like, being a plumber and being an electrician, you both work in a house, but you're not doing the same job. Like would that be limiting for to say, oh, I thought you worked in houses, so you should be able to do anything in this house. You should be able to plumb and do electrical work and then do drywalling and carpentry and what, you know what I mean? Like it's one of these things that I come up against often. But hold on, I'll hold on. Tell myself to hold on. They said it was kind of limiting, and then they said something about like, oh, so you'd rather be secondary, not elementary school. And I was like, well, not middle school either. Like, because in Alberta, it got middle schools for the most part. So I wanted to clarify, like, not really super interested in middle school. It'd have to be like a lot of other factors that are really great for me to consider a middle school. And then she kind of like laughed, and she was like, okay, so you're really limiting yourself as a teacher. And I'm like, and I started to tell her, I'm like, I know what skills I possess and my interests are. And she kind of cut me off. and was like, okay, well, I'll keep your information here for the future if anything like that opens up or whatever. I was okay, thanks, bye. Basically, that's how that went. It was really quick, and I was just like limiting myself. Yeah, like I understand that I'm limiting myself. There's only certain opportunities that I want. There's only certain opportunities that I desire. There's only certain ones that I feel I am a good fit for, right? I'm looking for an occupation. I'm looking to be happy. I'm looking to exercise my skills. I'm looking for opportunities to learn and grow. You could say that you could do anything and learn and grow from it. So sure, if I decide I just want to, I don't want to do anything teaching or whatever that I'm passionate about right now, but maybe if I go and decide to do manual labor, I'll learn and grow from that. Yeah, I will. I'm sure that I will, but not necessarily in the areas I want to. And that's okay. Like, that happens too. You learn and grow from things that you don't want to do, that are hard experiences, etc. Like subbing. Subbing is already something that I don't want to do. It's already something that is not what I'm looking for. It is not the career choice that I want, and I learn and grow from that, right? And it is adjacent to teaching. It is not teaching. It is incredibly different from teaching, but I don't know if I want to go into that right now. But it's not the same thing. It is adjacent, and it is the avenue in the system that has been set forth that, like, you're probably going to have to do some subbing before you get a contract. Fair enough, fine. But there's this general thing I keep bumping into. Not all admin or superintendents or people in general have this belief, but a lot of them do, that, oh, you're a teacher, you should be able to teach anything. It only works from the top down and not... It only works from higher grade level perspectives to lower, not the other way around. Because I don't think you would expect a kindergarten teacher to be able to teach Chem 30. But it goes the other way around, where it's like, oh, if you teach high school, you should just be able to teach anything. Like, why can't you just be a grade 6 generalist? Why can't you teach whatever? And I've heard admin say, like, if you're a teacher, you should be able to teach anything. And I'm like, no. First of all, one of the things that I believe a teacher should have is a firm grasp and a command of their teaching areas. That's one thing I believe. Elementary school, you don't need to do that as much. I understand. You don't need to have a crazy high level you don't need university level math to teach grade 2 math, right? You don't need you know what I mean? Like, you don't need that skill. So in that aspect of elementary school, the skills, or in this case, like the teaching areas and having a command of those teaching areas, are different. You need to know your curriculum. A lot of those things, though, that you would be teaching are things that you could learn very quickly, and then it relies on the education component of, like, how to teach. There's what you're teaching and there's how to teach. And I think that elementary school, a lot of that is based on, or your responsibilities are how to teach this age group, classroom management, all those teachable moments that have nothing to do with the curriculum and academics, but like how to be a person. Like, those opportunities arise a lot in those. I mean, all throughout school they do, but like in that aspect, they're just very different with young children. So I think that requires different skills, and there's different responsibilities there. And that's why maybe people don't say, like, oh, if you teach kindergarten, you should be able to teach Chem 30 or grade 12 math or advanced science, whatever. But again, it goes from the high school level, like, oh, you should be able to do anything. Like, I don't have an interest in teaching that grade level. The subject, part of my passion is teaching certain subjects. It's not just connecting with youth. That is another huge passion of mine. And I can do that outside the school system. That I could, but I also have a passion for art and expression, and just like critical thinking, and how you can learn critical thinking skills through art or through English or whatever, right? Like through these courses, through these classes. That is why that is like high school art teacher is like my number one thing. It's like, out of all the school subjects, art is my one, like the one that I am most familiar with, that I am most skilled in, that I am most interested in. Like, I have a command of that subject area. Do I know everything? No. I don't think you need to know everything. You can't know everything better than someone else. So it's just, I have a firm grasp on that subject area, And for the things I don't know, I can find out, and I have guests come in and whatever else. And I learn things too while I'm there. But I have a separate degree that is dealing with that subject area. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. I went and did that, and I have an art practice that I still that I still participate in and am working in actively. That takes care of that component of teaching, having a command of your subject area, because these students, and again, high school, you're earning credits, right? You need these credits. You need, and if you're wanting to graduate, right? There's a curriculum that you have to abide by, saying these are the things they should be learning in art, right? You need to be able to look at that, and this is where teacher skills come in too, and your the way that you understand and your abilities with the academic course load, that they merge there. But you need that understanding of that course. I cannot go and teach math or chemistry. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I won't be able, like, I can't. Like, it's not for me. I can't do it. I can't learn it. I can't teach it. Like, I could have moments in a classroom with students, but if I'm supposed to be administering some instruction and guiding some activities and going through assignments and trying to teach material so that they will learn this material, how am I supposed to do that if I don't understand the material? You need to. And art is one of those things that people just get thrown in there like, oh, anyone can teach that. No, I disagree. That's like, I could walk into a Chem 30 thing and just turn on a slideshow or a video of someone else teaching, right? And that would be more effective than throwing any random person into an art room. Because like there are so many different ways to teach that. The curriculum is very flexible versus Chem 30. I keep going back to Chem 30, but like whether it be chemistry or math or whatever, there's a lot of formulas and things you have to learn that are much more rigid. There's different styles of teaching to get that information across, but the information is very rigid. With art, the information is not very rigid. There's a lot of flexibility there and ways to open it up along with your teaching style, and it can be beautiful. But you can't just have any random person in there if they do not understand the elements and principles of design, or if they don't understand conceptual art, and they end up just doing just one type of art the whole time because they think that you just need to draw a still life of flowers in a vase and some fruit, and that's what art is, right? That is not helping the kids taking art. That might be helping a very small portion of them learn how to draw still life things or learn how to draw realistically when art is incredibly broad. Anyway, I'm going to go off into another rant. So I don't think that as a teacher, the expectation is you can teach anything. You should be able to teach any grade level. You're really limiting yourself. I'm focused on my passions and what I want and what my skills and abilities are and what my interests are, right? As a student, it is really difficult to apply yourself to any subject area as a student of anything. I don't just mean in school, but with school too, to learn something that you have no interest in. There are times we need to learn things we have no interest in. There are times where you need to attend a PD day or something like that as a teacher where you might not have a lot of interest in that. And sometimes you might get something out of it. And sometimes maybe you're right and you didn't get anything out of it. And as a student, I struggled with learning things or being in a classroom where I wasn't interested in the material. It's just something you have to do at a certain point because the way our system is designed, our school system is designed, that's just something that you have to do, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So I don't know why you wouldn't apply that to the teachers as well, of like teaching something within your desired subject area and the grades you want to teach. Just shuffling people around, as sometimes they do in elementary and middle schools, that just shuffle teachers around. Sometimes, oh, you're going to teach this now. It's like, I don't know that subject. I don't care about that subject. That's not what I am. For me, I would say I am an arts teacher. That is what I am. I could say I'm an art teacher that teaches English, or I could just say like, I'm an English teacher. Like I'd be comfortable with that too. But I am not a phys ed teacher. Would I be able to teach that course? Not with enthusiasm. And that's one of those things that I think a lot of admin are like, you should just be enthusiastic to do anything. No, you can't expect that from people. I think that there is an enthusiasm to working with youth, but again, working with youth in a certain capacity, because I could work with youth babysitting, right? Or like some people wouldn't be comfortable working with youth at the correctional facility. I would, or working with at-risk youth or things like that, but other people don't want to do that. Maybe they want to work with youth in a very different way, right? Like, so even though you're working with youth, and that is a passion of mine, doing it in a high school setting, sure, that's great, but you take me out of being able to engage them in something that I am well-versed in and interested in and continue to push myself in, like art or English, and put me in a completely different subject area where I know nothing and I'm not enthusiastic about that subject area. I don't know how to apply critical thinking to that area in the same way. Could I learn and grow from that and figure it out? Yes. Will I gain enthusiasm for it? I don't think so. And that's just the phys ed example. Again, go to Chem 30, I'm lost, I'm not going to learn that material, I can't do it. Apply that to the lower sections too, though. Like, could I teach the academic side of a grade 2 classroom? I sure hope so. But that is not a passion of mine. And I don't think that it is such a horrible thing to know your strengths and play to them. I don't want to do something that's easy. It's not about doing what's easy. Teaching high school art isn't easy, but it was really rewarding. I was passionate about it. I loved it. I would still love to do it. I know that I can continue to grow in that role. It's not about, oh, I don't want to push myself. No, I do want to push myself. I want to push myself in that direction. I want to push myself and gain these skills and abilities. I know that that space is one that there is discomfort in a way that I know I can learn still. It's not like everything is smooth sailing, I got it figured out, I'm not pushing myself anymore, and it's becoming stale. That's not it. But again, you wouldn't make those other big jumps of like kindergarten to grade 12, whatever, and just expect that from them if they don't have that background, right? If someone has this chemistry background and whatever, and you know that, and that's in their other degree, if they have one, then maybe you'd feel comfortable doing that. And that happens with some teachers, right? Anyway, what do I think a teacher should have? What do I think that goes across the board of every teacher? I think that you should have a command of the subject areas you're teaching. That's what I think. I think that, because that is part of the job. Part of the job is teaching the curriculum, that there is an academic component. You need to be able to understand those things before you can teach them. But then comes, so command of your subject area, understanding your subject area, being an active participant in your subject area, right? So again, if you are a gym teacher that is not physically active in your life, you could probably still teach gym effectively. Maybe you had an accident and it's no fault of your own or whatever, and you are confined to a wheelchair, but you could still have a passion and convey. Then again, in a wheelchair, you could do sports. You could still be active. So anyway, it's like an art teacher who doesn't do art, to me, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, so having command of your subject area and being presently applied in that subject area in your own life. Then there comes the teaching component of being able to take that information, the understandings that you have about that subject area, your knowledge, and having the right skills and abilities to convey that to students, guide them to facilitate learning. It's a very separate thing. Understanding something and being able to teach it are so separate. So that's why there's a teaching degree in how to teach, right? And then there's my subject area degree that's separate. And some people only get a teaching degree and that's it. And they don't have a firm command of their subject area either. But that's the whole other thing. This is why a lot of times at post-secondary institutions like colleges and universities, a lot of people, including myself, have professors or instructors, teachers, who don't know how to teach. They just know their subject area. They know all about geology. It's crazy. They're so amazing at it, but they don't know how to convey that information in a way that students can be engaged and learn that material. Some students are better off not even going to lectures and just reading the textbook, and they do amazingly well because that in-person environment isn't engaging and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't add anything because that instructor doesn't know how to teach. So know your stuff and then know how to teach. Another component, though, if you're working in schools, I think you have to be passionate about youth. I think that depending on what that age group is, because youth in general is not something I'm passionate about. I have a hard time connecting with younger people, small people. I have a hard time connecting with them because we can't have discussions about deeper things. And that's how I connect with people a lot, is conversations about deeper subjects. So could I care for a child? Yes. But can I enjoy my time with them and connect with them? Also, yes, but not in the same way. Not in a way that is incredibly exciting and fulfilling to me in a career aspect, right? Again, my interests, my skills and abilities, all those things I think can make me a great teacher when I'm put in the right environment or I'm being used in the right way. That if I am a tool, you can't try to take your lug nuts off your car with a screwdriver. You're using the wrong tool for that job, right? And there's a really great tool for that job, but that's not me. If you want, like, again, the kindergarten thing, like, that's not, I'm not the right tool for that job. So, yeah, that third piece is just that for whatever age group you're teaching to or engaging with, that you should have a passion for that you should be able to connect with those students, that you want to connect with those students, that you have experiences and histories of your own in your own life that make that easy to do and something you want to do and that you're interested in, is having that passion. Teaching and being able to deliver, let's say you can hit the first two things. It's really hard, I think, to hit the engagement piece if you're not passionate about the students, but some people can do it. They're very extroverted and very affable. Is that the word I'm looking for? Personable, anyway. And they can engage people, but they're not necessarily passionate about what they're doing or what they're conveying, or if students came to them with other issues that are completely non-academic. So one of my favorite things about teaching is connecting with students, completely non-academic as well, is just talking about other stuff. Providing a safe space for students goes along with that third piece of being passionate about that age group. Providing a safe space and being able to have discussions, non-academic, being someone that students trust, that they can go to with issues, with problems, with whatever. That is one of those pieces that I think you need as a teacher. And I think the fourth piece, which gets overlooked a lot, is organizational skills. There is so much planning that needs to be done as a teacher. There's so many things you have to organize, so many things that are structured, so many things with deadlines, timelines, due dates for yourself and students, that if you can't organize things well, not only are things going to get missed, kids are going to get missed. And it's something that I have seen happen more than once. You don't want students to fall through the cracks. If you are passionate, you need to learn some organizational skills, because students are going to fall through the cracks because you can't figure stuff out. Your desk is a mess, probably not a good sign. Is it organized chaos? Probably not. But you've got deadlines, you've got things. If there's whatever, there's tons of different things. It's not just about marking stuff and submitting marks. It's field trips and meetings with parents and meetings with people outside of like the school district, or like school district things, or whatever. Like all those different appointments and deadlines and things like that. You need to be organized. You need. Do we make mistakes? Yes. It's not going to be perfect, but it's way different than just being like flying by the seat of your pants and just coming into the classroom and being able to teach that class. That's great for that day, but what about the next day and the next day and the next day? What about those long-term things or those other opportunities that these students need? And if you can't organize yourself and schedule yourself in a way that is beneficial for those students, students are going to get missed. It's that simple. So for me right now, those are those four things that I focus on. Is having a command of your subject area, being actively engaged in your subject area outside of school, knowing how to teach, knowing how to engage, give instruction or whatever for that age group and that age level, having a passion for connecting with students and kids at that age level, at that age group, whatever, and being organized. I think that teachers need those four pillars. That's what I think. There's probably more maybe that I'm missing, or ways to express that differently, that those umbrella terms would have some bullet points underneath that make it more focused. But those are those four things that I think of a lot. I mean, you would add more things to, communication skills, right? Like you need to, communication is massive, but that's part of organization, I guess. Organization and communication. Because if you need to communicate with admin and with other teachers and with parents and with the students and with whatever else, that's just part of that organization. And you need to be able to communicate effectively. So either that's organization and communication, because they are kind of separate things, but they go hand in hand, or maybe there's a fifth pillar. I don't know. I don't know. That's what I think right now about teaching and what a person needs to be a successful teacher, a good teacher, one that engages students in a way that that learning can occur, and that also you can connect on a level where they feel safe talking to you about things that are non-academic as well. Because I think that's incredibly important. I think that's a responsibility of a teacher as well. And for you to organize yourself in a way that students don't get missed. Anyway, I'm just repeating myself. That's it.